We shall. All right. Welcome to Brown Skinned. Yes, Brown Skin, the impact. Okay, where we actually discuss clear and uncut conversations about us. We have a guest. I'm trying to get the guest on right now. We're having some technical difficulties for some unknown reason. I don't know why, but while we do that, I'll talk about what we are going to talk about today, and that is being professional, black, and single. Professional, black, and single. The plight of, as I stated before, the plight of the black female. All right, do we have you on? Are you on, Doc King?
I am on. How are you?
I am well, thank you. Finally, I'm like, this is a live show everywhere. We got to get this stuff going real quick. We are talking about this. I reached out to you to discuss this. This is my relationship guru for those who don't know Doc King. He is Ron King of You Are Fertile Ground, okay? How's the weather out there in L.A.?
Right now, 75 degrees.
All right, 75.
Beautiful. Sun, not a cloud in the sky.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, that is awesome. Good. Look, weather for great dialogue, right?
Absolutely.
All right, this is our show, so let's hurry up and jump right into this. So, professional, black, and single. The plight of the black female. That's always been a plight. Why do you think that has been an issue with professional black females finding love?
Well, I mean, I think there's not just a one-size-fits-all answer to that question. I think it comes as an issue that has multiple reasons. It's almost like the perfect storm when multiples of things come together at the same time. It not only makes it difficult for a difficult read to figure out how to solve the problem, but it's just so many different things that have come together over time to make for professional black women sometimes to have a difficult time finding a mate. One actually being that when you've got African American people who the whole life, our whole existence has been a struggle. All of a sudden now you've got so many black males for years that have not been in the household. So many of us have grown up without the presence of fathers in our homes, and so not only have we been raised by single black females, strong black females who held down the household, but those strong black females have raised young black women who have, some of them who are the only ones in their family that went to college, got a degree and became professionals, and they have this experience of not having men around them. So this singleness of mine, I can do it by myself. I can go it alone. I can handle it. Sometimes has a tendency to jade the thought process so that when they become professionals, that single-mindedness that has worked to get them where they are, sometimes doesn't work when it comes time to bring yourself together with a male, with a mate. And sometimes there has to be sometimes like a gearing down of that strength. And sometimes, we use this term that black men sometimes don't know how to handle a strong black woman. And that sometimes that term, strong black woman, is a misnomer, because it's not necessarily that black men have a hard time with a strong black woman. My mom was a strong black woman, but sometimes that strength has a tendency to become very almost androgynous, to where it makes it gives the man the impression not that he's dealing with a soft, feminine personality, but almost like he's dealing with a man in a feminine appearance, because she comes across very rough around the edges. And I got to let you know where I've come from, what I've been through, and how I got here. And don't get it twisted, that you can, and that attitude kind of pushes men back, because by nature, men are looking for women to be the softer, easier going side. And you can be the professional, you can be accomplished, but you can't forget that you are the woman, not the man. You're the woman. And you've got to let the man see that side of you even more so than the professional you, the accomplished you. He wants to see the woman you. And sometimes it's very hard for some women to let the woman you come through, because she's had to be so purposeful all of her life, so self-directed and focused, that sometimes they lose track of that side of them. And not the strong black woman that comes through, but just that real rough, hard, sometimes difficult to talk to, difficult to get through to. That woman comes through. And a lot of women don't even see that in themselves.
Oh, okay, well, let me ask you this. So, do you think surveyed a few people on this topic before I actually had the show, and do you think that career women are not feminine?
I think that career women, all women, have within them the ability to be feminine. You got to remember that, when God created Adam, he said it is not good for man to be alone, and he created Eve. And when Adam saw Eve, he said, "This is now," meaning that she was so pleasing to his eye that he almost had a hard time even handling it. And Eve had such a feminine power over Adam that she caused Adam to forget God for a few minutes. Because when she said, "We can eat this fruit," after God told him no, she said, "We can eat this." He said, "Okay, babe." Because he couldn't resist her at all. He forgot God. So women have within them the ability to be feminine. It's just that the feminine part sometimes gets lost in the drive of trying to get there, trying to be accomplished, and trying to avoid failure. That sometimes it can get lost in the process, particularly if you haven't been through it when you grew up.
Okay, well, let me say this. Let me say this, because you have those who are, they're a boss at work, and they have to make all the decisions. But then when they go home, they don't want to make the decisions, but they're there and they find themselves in the place where they have to make a decision. And that's a turnoff for the professional woman.
So when they come home, they have to make the decisions.
Yeah, they feel as though that they have to make the decisions, and that's why that previous relationship didn't work. These, everything I'm speaking of are different women with different issues that had questions for you. So I want to make sure I touch on each and every one of them. But that's one of the plights that I've heard several times, and I can understand that, being in management and you're dating someone, so all day you're telling somebody, what to do and how to do things, and then when you come home, you kind of want to hang that boss jacket up, or, hang the boss shoes up, and actually just can you tell me what to do? Reverse, switch roles.
And now here's the thing. What I have seen is when the woman comes home and she wants somebody else to make the decision, if that person's going to make the decision, you got to let them make the decision. You can't have them make the decision the way you want them to make it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because if you want to step back and say, "You make the decision, babe, because I done did it all day. You handle things now." Okay, then let me handle it then.
Okay.
Don't let me handle it and then stop me and say, no, you can't do it that way, blah, 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 because here's how I would do it. No, you can't have it both ways. Either he's going to make the decisions or he's not. But he's not going to make the decision your way. If you want to back up and not make the decisions, then back all the way up. Don't just back up so far. And that's the challenge that some women have. They just, it's like, do you want the man to be the head of the house and be that person that runs things, or you want him just to run the stuff that you want him to run because you don't want to do it? Or do you want him to run to, when you come home, you want him, hey, you're the head of the household, you're the man, you're the lead dog, hey, I'm following you. Because on the Iditarod, the lead dog is the lead dog. The other one's just following. But sometimes we only want to lead in the parts, we want to follow only in the parts we want to follow. And then here's the other thing. What women will say, you know what? Well, what if I got a guy who really don't know how to lead? Then teach him.
Now,
teach
see,
him. There's nothing wrong with There's nothing wrong with teaching, because you can have a good guy that doesn't know how to lead. Then a good woman can teach him how to lead because she knows how to follow. Followers teach leaders how to lead.
And that's true. And that's true. Now, let's deal with the topic, professional. So when I hear professional, that to me, I hear busy. I hear responsibility. I hear knowing exactly what they want and sticking to that, and usually not wavering. It's like, okay, if these are the policies that I need to follow, then that's what I'm going to follow. Now, when you say teach him, some women feel as though, why should I have to teach a grown man how to be a man? Speak to that.
No, you're not teaching him. You're not teaching him how to be a man, aka in the sex in the species of being a man. You're teaching him how to lead in your household. See, because how I may lead, be a leader for you, Melanie. It's going to be different on how I'm going to lead for Sally. I'm not going to be that same guy. I'm going to be me. But once I come together with you, I'm changing a little bit of me to fit you. But if you need to teach the guy, then if you're a professional, that's the thing. That all things are not equal. You got women who have gone to college. They put in 4 years, 6 years, 8 years of college, 12 years, became a doctor, became an attorney. Now you're this accomplished lead person in the hospital, and the guy who you met is a good guy. He's a good man. He's going to be a good husband and a good father. But this guy, maybe he graduated from high school. Maybe he went through 2 years of college and dropped out. It wasn't for him. And so he went to mechanic school and became a mechanic. But he's a hard-working, good guy. When you come home, you're looking for that guy to be something different than maybe what you're looking for. Because this guy can lead, but you may have to teach him a little bit more than he knows. And that's okay, because everybody doesn't come ready-made.
Okay.
Everybody don't come ready-made. You know, a lot of times when you find out that, I say all the time, when you find Mr. Right, you find out you Mrs. Wrong. Because there's got to be there's something to be said for the fact that you've gone through all of this college and all of this learning. Now you're an accomplished professional person, and you cannot make the most basic thing of human interaction happen. You cannot make a relationship work. You can't find anybody who wants to be around you any longer than 24 hours. There's something wrong there.
Well, you probably can find somebody that could be around you for more than 24 hours, but you can't be around them for more than 24 hours.
Exactly. So that's the problem. So what's the problem? What's the issue? You know what the issue is?
Please tell. You. Please enlighten us.
It's you. The issue is you.
Why? Because the standards are too high?
That's one thing is because again, if you got to ask yourself, do I want to have do I want a guy who's a great looking guy, physically fit, educated, he's a good man, he's a good father, he's a good husband, he's all of these things wrapped into the same package. Now, I'm not saying you can't find that, but you got to be ready to get on the road and find it.
Okay, let me give you a list of the wants from the professional black female. You ready?
Yep.
Etiquette, timeliness, able to listen to us, don't expect us to make all the decisions. So there that is again. Wait a minute.
No, wait.
Oh.
I need you to.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I will remember all those.
Okay, go ahead.
So you said first of all, etiquette.
Yes.
You got to realize something, that etiquette is something that's taught. It's not osmotic. It's not like that we come into this world knowing etiquette. So a woman who knows etiquette Somebody taught her that. Unless she was blessed enough to learn it and get it from home. I didn't learn etiquette at home.
Okay,
See,
let me give you an age bracket that I'm speaking of. Okay, so let's go with the professional black and single female over 40. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not trying to teach somebody etiquette. You ought to know. You ought to know that coming into someone's house, you're supposed to take your hat off.
Well, again, now let me just share that with you. You got to realize that over the past, let's say you say that woman is 40 years old.
Yeah, so we're talking professional women over 40.
Okay, so if you go back 20 years, she was 20 years old. Mm-hmm. So let's go back, and the guy, he's 20 years old. You got to realize that we went through a time period in our society, particularly African American people, where women in general, 20 years ago, I watched it happen. 20 years ago, young women allowed young men to grace their presence in a restaurant or whatever with their hat on, and they didn't say nothing. They didn't know no better. The boys came with their baseball caps on, turned sideways, turned backwards. They had pants hanging up, and the girls said nothing. They allowed it. Now this man is 40 years old. The woman has grown up, gone to college, professional now. Now she's 40 years old, and she runs into him. He's still wearing a hat when he go out to eat. Because he didn't go to college.
But you have to go to college. That's crazy, though. That's crazy.
So, again, what we didn't do as society, I look at it this way. Because I used to teach it to young boys. We failed them. The older guys, we failed them because we let these boys walk around. We sit in a restaurant and see all over the restaurant. I'm out here in L.A., and right now, I can go into a restaurant out here in L.A. and see young guys sitting in a restaurant at a table with a girl. She looked like she's 22, 23 years old, and she's dressed like a woman. She got on a dress. She got on shoes. She got her hair done, got her nails done. He's sitting across the table from her. He got on sneakers, got pants hanging down, got a hat turned around backwards. She looked like she having lunch with her brother, her little brother. But that's her man, and she okay with that. So we train people to accept this downgraded way of, I mean, I'm all the way back to the time period when if a woman walked past, he took his hat off, put it on his arm and said, "Good afternoon, ma'am." He took his hat off just in her presence. Now we've allowed them to sit at a dinner table with a hat on. So do we have to retrain them? Yes, we do, because we've allowed them to grow up from little boys up to men, and it's okay for them to wear a hat, to not open the door, walk in the door before you. This is stuff they don't know.
Okay, so we need to be a little more patient and train them, teach them how to treat us.
It's not like they're doing it out of just to be mean or be spite. You know, my mom used to say all the time. She said, "Ronald, sometimes we can't get mad at some people because some folk just don't know no better."
Okay.
Some folk they've just never been taught. I mean, and she used to tell me all the time, don't think that everybody out there in the world has learned what you've learned in this house. How to treat people, how to act, how to be a man, how to do this. Everybody ain't learning it. So just be prepared for it.
Okay.
And so as a woman, you got to be prepared for the fact that with the minimal number of options you have with the African American men, with the number of African American males that are out here in the street just homeless, lost mentally, those who are in prison or in the prison system, those who have been killed out in violence and gang violence, those men who have chosen to go a different direction, decided to go the gay route, the number of men left, black people only make up 12 to 13% of the population. So when you take that small amount, white folks make up 60 to 65% of the population. So when you only got 12 to 13% black folk, and we don't have an African American factory somewhere where we can get more black folks from, the only way The only way we get more African American people in this country is through having babies. We don't have another country we can get them from. So what we got here is what we got here. And with the small number, you got to figure out, how do I make this work? I can go back to a time period in Washington, D.C. There was a time period in Washington, D.C. where women outnumbered men 10 to 1. If you go back 20, 25 years ago, women, because of the secretarial pools in Washington with all the congressmen and senators, women flocked to D.C. for jobs. Women outnumbered men in D.C. 10 to 1. And you know what? The average guy, let's say in D.C., it didn't make a difference what he looked like. He had 2 or 3 or 4 women that he was dating, and they knew it.
See,
they knew it.
That's crazy. But let me get to these other points real quick. We also want someone to be globally aware, and like you said, everybody doesn't know the same thing. But where are these guys at? And we want someone intelligent. Now, this is key for me. Groomed in style. And just as you were saying earlier, and you did have a point, as far as like 20 years ago, this person is sitting at the table with their hat on and not knowing the etiquette of removing your hat when you walk into a building or anywhere, like you said, with a woman. You know, at the meeting, I can't hear you. Something's going on over there. What's going on over there?
Sorry.
Okay, because it's like amplified.
Sorry.
Just the presence of a woman, you would remove your hat. So with groomed in style, I guess I don't have I do this. I'm guilty of this. I'll dress a guy. If I don't like the style that they got, I will buy what I want them to have and be like, oh, this is sharp. You should do this. You should do that. So I do that. I definitely do that. And I noticed that a lot of females, professional females, when, you know, that may have children, they dress their sons according to what they're attracted to. Do you find that to be true?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you got to groom him, that's fine, because you know what? That should be in the beginning. If he's not groomed properly or the way that you think he should be, and you can see in him a much better man, if that he could present himself being groomed, then that's a conversation that you should have with him to let him know that I need you to let me do this for you, to show you how to do it the right way.
Now,
and a man who is a strong enough man should be able to take that instruction, because listen, if I was single and I met a woman and she was professional and she wanted me to dress in suits and dress pants and ties and shirts and all that, and I didn't have that, and that's the way I would let her do that, because I'm trying to grow up. I wasn't able to do it before.
Okay, now
so I'm gonna
let me get this last point out. And we also want someone to support us and not compete with our success. So go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm listening. You said compete?
Compete. Where you'll find where the guy is actually competing or upset of your success. Knowing where you were at the beginning when they came on the scene, happy about it. I guess, you know, and this is just my opinion and not the opinion of the guest that's on Brown Skin right now. But it's like, okay, I want this relationship. I want to date this person. And are they using the female, the professional black single female, to get clout? Because you'll have them, they'll be like, oh, okay. And then, you know, women say, okay, well, I'll give you the opportunity. I'll give him the time of day. He's not even my style. He's not even on my list. Because I know with you say, have a list with your pros and cons. So you'll be like, okay, well, I can move a little bit over here. Okay, I'll let that slide. And then you give them the opportunity. And then all of a sudden, they thinking like they cold. So what's the thoughts on that?
Well, you can't. It's hard to control. You can't see inside of a person's head to see what their intentions are. And sometimes, you know, opportunity and change and betterness can turn people into somebody different than they were before. Okay. Just by the fact that you gave them a, you know, they got an upgrade, and so their upgrade not outgrew you.
Okay.
So now they
so you look, we polished them all for the next person. Now they're ready.
Right. But again, that's what communication is important, because during the whole time that you're doing the upgrade, you're also doing relationship building. So that's those conversations you have in the midnight hour. That's when you laying in the bed with that person, or you laying next to that person on the couch, and you're not watching talk TV, but you're sitting there and you're having a conversation about what you want your relationship to be with that person, how you see this thing being, and whatever you begin to build that psyche between the two of you, not just building up this person's outward appearance, but you're building up their inward understanding of who you are and who you want them to be, and you're willing to help them to get there because it helps the two of you get where you ultimately want to be. That's a conversation that should be happening all the time. It's constant. It's constant conversation. You can't just, because again, just like it's no different than a woman. I know a guy who he was 40. He met a young lady that he liked. She was a little older than 25. He was 40. He brought her in, and the first thing he started doing with her, she was a very timid, laid back, quiet young lady. He started giving her the immediate upgrade. He started taking her all over the country, taking her shopping, all this. Before you knew it, she bought into his upgrade quicker than she bought into him.
Okay.
And before you knew it, she saw herself as being worthy of this upgrade. And before you know it, she started seeing what he turned her into. But she started comparing the new person to this older person who did it for her. And she started seeing, now her eyes begin to look at guys that were younger than him. Professional guys, because now she had everything.
Okay, so he brought her around into a new circle, and I was getting ready to get to that. So bringing her around to a new circle, just like I feel like the professional woman does. Here's your new people. Look, here's a group of new people that you met through me, and now you're here at this place, and then you forget about the person that actually brought you there because you focused on a new environment.
Exactly. So that's that conversation got to happen. And you can't bring people along too fast. You know what I mean? Inch by inch is essential. So you do it little by little, because you don't want the person to bite off more than their brain can handle reasonably, because what will happen is they'll start seeing your kindness for weakness as opposed to seeing your kindness as being help and progressive.
Oh, okay.
You don't want to give too much.
Go ahead. Don't want to give too much.
You don't want to give so much to where they begin to see right past the gratitude that they should see, and they now take advantage.
Okay.
And the line is very thin. The line is very thin.
All right. Now, here's a little, this is not really a game, but this is what women think that men are interested in. So I want you to tell me yes or no. Okay. Look, this is all yes or no. Yes or no questions. All right. Sense of humor.
Yes.
Okay.
What women are interested in?
No. Is it true that men like a sense of humor? You said yes. This is is it true?
Like a sense of humor.
Okay.
Yes.
The next one. Risk takers.
Risk takers?
Yes.
To some degree, to where, I'll just make it quick, to where you may not be a risk taker, but you're willing to trust me and take the risk.
Okay. Independence.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
But yes, but not necessarily.
Okay. See that independence thing, it's like independent. We're already independent. Do we want to be independent? I'll say no, but we can be if we have to be.
Exactly, because a man doesn't want a woman to be so independent, because again, one of the biggest things that the difference between men and women, just internally when it comes to relationship wise, is the number one thing that most men want in a relationship is they want to feel that they're needed.
Okay.
Men need to be needed. If a guy walks in the door and he hears his wife talking to somebody on the phone, and he hears her say, well,
you're breaking up, and I'm hearing a whole lot of artifacts in the back.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If he hears her talking on the phone, and she's telling her friend, well, you know what? I'm just waiting for John to come home. I know I can call a repairman, but I'm not gonna call a repairman because when John comes home, he's just handy like that. He can fix anything, girl. I'm talking anything around here, that man can fix it. When he walked in the door and he overhears that conversation, he just pumped his chest.
Okay. If you have any questions or if you feel like you want to join into this conversation, feel free to do so. The call-in number is 515-602-9667. Again, 515-602-9667. Okay, let me hurry up and get through these since the show is only an hour. Is it true that men like pretty hair or real hair? Which one? Where did I lose?
I'm here.
Okay. Which one?
Here. What did you say?
Pretty hair or real hair?
Pretty hair or real hair? I find today, it depends. It really depends on the guy, because today, real hair is almost non-existent. You know what I mean? Even women that have hair, they want the convenience of not having to deal with it. So they don't wear. Huh?
I said, you see it? That's why I got my braids on now. Go ahead.
Yeah, they just don't want it. They don't want to deal with it. It's easier to deal with fake hair. So, I'm that person. I want your hair natural, however it goes.
Okay. Red lipstick?
Huh?
Red lipstick, yes or no?
No.
Okay. Cooking skills?
Optional.
Elaborate.
Cooking skills. Cooking skills are something I've been in enough relationships to know that every woman can't cook. See, and I know how to cook. I'm a good cook and I'm a great baker. But that's because my mom told me when I was growing up, she wanted me to be able to learn everything I needed to learn so that I wouldn't have to depend on a woman to do anything for me. I can wash my clothes. I can iron my clothes. I can cook. I can clean house. I know how to make a bed, all that. So, but every woman doesn't necessarily know how to cook, but she can be taught because cooking is a skill. It's not a talent. You don't come in the world knowing how to cook. It's a skill. It's something you learn how. And I'm not going to condemn a woman who never learned in her house as a young kid growing up that nobody ever really taught her how to cook, or she never understood the importance of it. But she can get there because they make cookbooks. If you can read, then you can learn how to cook. Okay.
Let's go. Mature appearance. Yes or no?
If it's warranted based on the age of the person, we're talking 40-something and older?
Yes.
More mature appearance? Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, I do, I asked this, but I do want like a clearer picture of this. Is there an oversupply of high quality women or an undersupply of high quality men? Do you think that is the reason to why most women, professional women, they target, they target someone that is not of their standards or standings versus the over or the high quality male who actually targets the professional woman? Did I lose you on that question? Or you want me to rephrase it?
Yeah, rephrase it.
Okay, so professional men look for professional women, where professional women seems to drop lower and get the unprofessional man. Is it an oversupply of, is it, is the dating pool so full of professional women that the men can just pick and choose? Like you said, you gave the ratio for DC area, 1 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the same way in the professional realm?
Well, I think both. I think both. Remember, I told you that perfect storm. You the gene pool, if you will, for professional women has become really heavily stacked. So, for a guy who's looking for a professional woman, and let's just say professional black woman, his options comparatively, the pool is big for him. If a black male, professional black male, is looking for a professional black woman, the pool is big. The pickings are good. You know what I mean? Because over time, more and more black women have come up and graduated from high school. I mean, look at our inner city schools. And a lot of our colleges, they have a shortage of young black males going to college, but young black women, they like stacked in there because their focus is on school and whatever. And the young guys, they just out in the street thinking about all kinds of street stuff. So now what's happened is you've got this pool of these. I mean, look at Joe Biden's presidential cabinet. Look how many. We've never seen so many women / so many black women on a presidential cabinet in the history of this country. Because you got so many black women out there that have made it, but the black men, they're not there. So now the ones that are there, it's so few of them that, again, like DC, if you got a professional black guy, he's got probably 5 or 6 professional black women to choose from. But the black woman, each one of those black women, they trying to find a professional black man. They got maybe 1 or 2 to choose from, maybe.
Now, looking at the stats, they have from the ages of 35 to 45. It says that professional black women are fit to get married are 15% less than the professional white female. Why do you think that's it?
Say it again. The numbers are what?
From the ages of, when I said over 40, from the ages of 35 to 45, there's a chance of the black female, a 15% less chance of getting married than the white professional female.
Well, again, because the pool is bigger. Because the white female, number one, there's more white professional males available because they make up 65% of the entire population of the country. So number one, there's just more of them, of white people, white males to choose from. So their pool is just a larger number one. But the white female, what she has the advantage of, she has not only her racial pool to pull from, she has the ability to pull from ours too.
Yes. Okay.
So her dance card is full.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Her dance card is full. Now, what makes that more difficult for the black female is not just that the white female has the ability to pull black men to her, but the black females have to make it so that they don't make it easier by their attitude, which they call, well, I'm a strong black woman. Okay, that's okay to be strong, but don't be so loud.
Okay, wait. There we go. The angry black woman, the angry black female. I refuse to accept that. But okay, we hear it often. Now, when you say don't be so loud, but we're used to, like me, I got a big mouth. I talk loud. And just because my tones are the way that they are, and some of, deeper tones, so it actually projects further, doesn't mean that I'm angry or showing my strength. It's just I'm speaking. So should we just be quiet?
No, just bring it down.
Now, how do you...
Again, you're asking him. I mean, You want him to change the way he dress.
Mm-hmm.
You want to dress him up the right way, all this kind of stuff. Like I said, when you find Mr. Right, you find out you're Mrs. Wrong. Because what you going to change?
You know what? I'm willing to compromise depending on what it is. I won't compromise my values though.
No, you don't have to do that. But again, if you got to bring it down, again, I just don't want to have strong black woman to be a blanket term over what the problem is, because some of it ain't strong. It's just
loud.
Too hard, too loud, too hard. Just not enough softness.
So tell me, where do you think that derives from? It is the black male thinking that she's trying to tell him what to do? His mom? I don't understand, because even if black women date white men, and the white man doesn't have, well, I ain't going to say all of them, but they don't have those same issues of you're yelling at me. I don't understand. Help me. Do you know that answer?
Let me give. I can give you an example of when you've got a woman. First of all, we're black, and we've had all the struggles that black people have had, and that has made us tough. It's made us. It's kind of like leaning on your elbow in a car all day, every day. Wonder why the skin on your elbow gets to be hard, because you're pressing on it all the time. And sometimes life presses on black people so much for so many years that we end up becoming calloused. And that callousness sometimes comes across in the way we talk, and we don't even realize. It's like I know two young ladies. And both of them, I remember them when they were just the softest, most easygoing, crying, just really, really just nice women. You know what happened to both of them? They both became police officers.
Okay.
If you talk to them today, they are totally different people than they were 20 years ago, 30 years ago, before they became police officers. Because being in that world of dealing with criminals all the time, it caused them to just be toughened by their job. To where now when they date guys, they talk to the guy that they're dating like he's a criminal.
Or
because they don't know how to turn it down. They don't know how to turn it back. Sometimes you got to realize, okay, I'm not at work no more. I got to turn it back. Just like some police officers used to be at work, and they would go to work and they'd be dealing with criminals all the time, and then they come home. We find out they just going home and beating their wife because they didn't know how to turn it off. Turn it off. You got to realize that there's something to me before I'm a police officer. Okay? Before I'm a police officer, I'm a mom. Before I'm a police officer, I'm a wife. Before I was a wife and a mother, I was a woman. You got to be that person. Don't let your job make you lose sight of who God made you to be. He made you to be the weaker species. And there's a reason why weaker. Because I like to use this example when you talk in terms of the angry black woman. It's not. I don't like the term angry. It's just that she's just been so jaded by life and the struggle and focus and having to do everything herself. I dated a young lady some years ago, and for the 15 years before I dated her, for 15 years she had 2 children out of 2 marriages. Both marriages failed. And so when I met her, she had her youngest daughter was still in high school. Her youngest. And when I met her, she had to raise 2 daughters, work every single day, do everything, cut grass, pull up carpet, everything for herself. And when she met me, you know what the hardest thing was for her to do? To let me as a man do anything for her. She didn't even know it. If I said, when she called me I called her on the phone and said, "What are you doing?" She said, I'm just pulling in my driveway. She said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm about maybe less than 5 minutes away from your house." I said, "Where are you coming from?" "I just went grocery shopping." I said, "Okay, I'll be there in 5 minutes and I'll help you with the groceries." When I got to her house in 5 minutes, it was like she rushed as quick as she could to get 10 bags of groceries, canned goods, potatoes, juice, everything. She carried all them bags in the house by herself before I got there. I'm rushing trying to get there so I can help her put them groceries in the house. She purposed herself to get them in before I got there. And when I asked her, I was like, why you bring all these buckets? I told you I was 5 minutes away. She said, what's the big deal? I've been doing it by myself.
I'm glad. I got to stop you right there. I've been doing it by myself. When you hear that and you hear the strong black woman say something like that, how does that make men feel when that's constantly the rebuttal?
How does that make me feel?
Yeah, men in general, when you hear women say they don't want to be by themselves, but they constantly, the rebuttal always is, I've been doing it by myself. I had to do it, and constantly hearing that over and over. I'm used to doing it by myself. I'm an independent woman, but you want a man, but you keep saying you're an independent woman. What is the man, what's going through the male's thoughts? What's going through his head?
I can tell you personally, I felt useless, valueless. What am I here for? I can't, if I say I'm going to, she said, I think my car needs oil. Okay. I said, well, you know what? I'll be over there tomorrow and I'll check it and put oil in. By the time I get there, she done put the oil in herself. So it's just like, what am I here for? Because as a man, I need to feel needed. It's just a part of my genealogy. I need to be needed. Women have a need to be appreciated, but men need to be needed. I want to know that if you tell me that you need oil in your car or your headlight is out and you need the bulb to be changed, and I say, you know what, I'll make sure I change it tomorrow. I don't need you to have gone to the parts store and paid that guy $15 to put the light in because you can't wait for me.
Okay.
Because now what's going to happen is, you know what? I'm going to end up being at work. And Sally G, she going to go, you know what? I just came in the job today and I noticed my headlights out. And I don't even know how to take that thing out of there. And I'm at work and I go, you know what? What year is your car? 2013, whatever. Okay, you know what? I'll pick up the light bulb on the way to work tomorrow and I'll pop it in for you. You just give me the money for the bulb. Oh, that'd be great. And when I come to work tomorrow, I got that bulb in my pocket. And when I walk in the door, she hand me the keys. Before I even say a word, hand me the keys.
So that's how the workplace relationships start.
That's where they start. Because somebody is going to open that door and massage that area that nobody even can put a lotion on it. It's all hard and rough. Somebody else can come along and put some lotion on it.
Okay.
That's how it starts. I mean, just being real, that's how it starts. It starts as just subtle. It's just something subtle, something very innocent that somebody says, you know what? I need to go outside. I need air in my tire. And I don't even know how to put air in the tire. I go, you know what? Just follow me to the gas station. I'll put the air in.
Okay, so what you are saying is sometimes it's good to be the damsel in distress.
Because guess what? Every man wants to be the hero. He wants to be the hero. He's looking for the next time he can be the hero for you. If that woman says, I need air in my tire, and she follows him, he's looking at his rearview mirror to see if she's going to turn off like his woman would do. She'll get tired of him and say, you know what? I can put this air in myself. I'll do it tomorrow. And she'll pull off. She'll make the next turn at the next light. He looking at the mirror. She following him all the way to the gas station. And she pull up to the thing. He put the air in. She said, do I owe you anything? No, you don't owe me nothing. Well, at least let me buy you lunch tomorrow.
Oh, there go the relationship.
Okay. Now, guess what? No, that's not the relationship. There goes the communication.
Well, we know how church people flirt. Church people flirt by fixing plates and bringing lunch and all that other stuff. So we're talking over the age of 40. And lunch seems to be it. It's like, okay, then you start with that work husband and work wife.
And well, guess what? Pastors, that's why some pastors' wives have a problem, because the one thing that's okay, that seems that it's okay to do for the pastor is to make him food. So that's what women do in the church. First thing they start doing is, Pastor, I made some beef stew. I just want to bring you some. And she'll bring it, and he'll love maybe him and his wife eat the beef stew, but he loving that beef stew, and she don't care whether the wife eat it or not. She just want to make sure that he knows she made it.
Yeah, but there's some come follow me up in there, and ain't nobody trying to do none of that. I need you to give me, why don't you sum up, and we have, 6 minutes left on this actual outlet. Can you say why do we fail at dating? Why does professional black women fail at dating? If you could just sum that up.
I would sum it up this way. One of the reasons why professional women fail at dating is because the easiest thing to do is what you've always done. So if you spent the last 8 years, 4 years, 5 years in college and studying to get that good grade, to be able to get that degree, to get that good job, and you've been through all these interviews, and you've been told no, or whatever, and finally you landed this big job, and now you are now making $125,000, $150,000 a year, and pretty much you have made it. You're in an executive position. The easiest thing to do is what you've always done, is focus on that. And the hardest thing to do is to put all of that stuff that you've accomplished behind you and just focus on you. Focus on you, the woman. And when you go into a dating situation, don't lead with everything you've done to get to this point, to be the person you are. Because really, in the bottom line, a guy who really cares about you, you don't really give a damn about that. He want to know, what about you is going to make me want to keep dating you and ultimately marry you and make you my wife and have children with you and spend my vacations with you. It's not going to be your job. Not for the guy that really wants you. The guy who's looking for a leg up, yeah, he want to know your job because he want to know how you can help him to get an upgrade. But the guy who really wants you, he don't give a damn about your job. Because if he really like you, he'll take you poor, broken, hungry, and he'll work his behind off to get you whatever you want because he wants you. So don't come to the table and on the first date, halfway through the date, you talking about your job and your professional job and what you went through and how many you went to school, whatever. And this for guys too. That don't need to be coming across the table. But I do know that there are some women that come to the table and one of the first things they want to talk about with a guy, and I'll tell guys this, if you sit down at a table with a woman and on the first date, she asking you what you do for a living, get your hat.
But what's wrong? Okay, well, what's wrong with asking what someone does for a living?
Because you know what? Because I can tell you, I'm the executive vice president of XY company, and I make $500,000 a year. But the bottom line is, how is that going to help you if there's also something in my character flaw that $500,000 a year I make? But you know what? Once I get to know you, I'm going to beat your ass every week.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Or peeing on the toilet seat.
Exactly.
You're like, keep your money.
There are some things that are more important about the person you're sitting across from than how much money. Yeah, you can get to that, but on the first or second date, that ain't really the most important thing. Because the things that you're going to find out, how many people have been married, found out, got a guy or woman who's making good money or whatever, and you find out 2 years, 1 year after you date or married to this person, you find out this person's an abuser. Or maybe after 2 or 3 years, now they calling you everything out your name but a child of God. That's who that person was. They covered it up when they met you to be on their good behavior, but that's who they were. You need to find out that kind of stuff. The money, all that stuff, that'll take care of itself. But we lead with that because everybody, their lives are driven by finance. Everybody. That's why you got all these people. Here's one thing. Let me throw this at you also. It's amazing that we've gotten to a point today in our society where a guy who's out and moving around, he can't even do what we used to call back in the day. He can't hit on a woman. Because today, hitting on a woman now is called some type of abuse, sexual.
Hashtag Me Too movement.
Yeah, exactly. You got to keep your mouth shut. Back in the day, women prided themselves. It was a feather in their hat if they went out on a weekend and 3 or 4 guys hit on them because they had the ability and the power to say no. But if I say no, I'm not interested, it don't change the fact that I felt good that you asked. Now today, you can't even ask. Look at Cuomo up there in New York. he's whatever, 50-something years old or whatever, but he's single. And he hit on a girl that worked in his office. I think she was 20 or 21 years old. And now they're making that out of a charge. The girl said he never touched me or anything. But he did tell me that he's interested in dating young people, like young women like me. And asked me what did I think about older men. And now that's all in the news. That would have been back in the day, he hit on her. So what? So what? But people today don't know how to date no more. They go on dating sites. Back when I was growing up, if you saw a girl in a restaurant or a mall or something, you walked up and said, hey, excuse me, can I introduce myself? My name is Ron King. What's your name? You from around here? Come here often? Start a conversation. And then maybe you say, well, listen, I'm going to be back over this way. Maybe we can meet for lunch. I'll give you my number.
Well, you know what will happen. It'll be on social media talking about this guy tried to talk to me, just like you were saying with Cuomo. We're going to talk about that on Shop Talk with Mel on Saturday. Hey, listen, Doc King, thanks for coming on the show. I truly appreciate you and giving your input and your expertise on. This is my relationship guru for those of you lovely people who don't know. If you want to see this interview or this topic or this conversation, whatever you deem it as, you can definitely check out all the social media sites at Shop Talk with Mel. Your favorite podcast, look for, and I just messed that up, it's not at Shop Talk with Mel, it is Brown Skin. Your favorite podcast, if you have Apple, Google, Spotify, all those, look up Brown Skin, and then you'll actually hear this interview. YouTubers, my lovely YouTubers out there, feel free to like, comment, share. Facebook, like, comment, share, all the social networks at Shop Talk with Mel. The information is below. If you would like him to come on your show, or if you have something going on, he does speaking engagements. I don't know how it's going with the whole COVID thing, but he did host he was the guest speaker at our Battle of the Sexes some years ago. I can't even remember when that was. It was a few years back. But all the information is below. If you'd like to donate to this channel, you can do so. That information is found below as well. Thank you so much again for coming on. And we're just trying to figure out what to do. We don't want to teach anybody. There's one young lady that I know is a doctor, and she said that, I want to tell you this really fast. She said that she went to dinner with this guy on a date, and after the dinner, I guess they were vibing. He said, you don't even seem like a doctor. What is that supposed to mean?
But guess what? Now when he says you don't seem like a doctor, did she ask the question? Did she ask that question of you?
Now here's the thing. No, she didn't. And somebody who set them up told him that. So that she was a doctor, because she don't like to tell people that she's a doctor because of that. She's a pediatric doctor, but she doesn't like to tell people that because some people feel intimidated, as we talked about before we did. You saw the pyramids. It's just like, what do you do? Being professional, black, and single, that seems to be it, because some of us don't want to teach. And like you were saying, some of us, we want the proper etiquette. Timeliness is everything. Don't waste my time, honestly. And not just the time of dating the individual, because you want that time. But if you say you're going to pick me up at 6 o'clock, trust and believe your girl is busy. Come pick me up at 5:45. And don't sit on my decorative pillows either. I look at her like,
when they said you don't look like a doctor, you don't act like a doctor.
Yes,
that's not a negative.
No, she didn't take it as a negative, but it was just like, what do you think though?
I think it's a great compliment to her that he said that she didn't come off, because we all know that one thing that comes with the territory of being a doctor, not all of them. But one thing that is known about doctors is they can be arrogant.
No bedside manners, huh?
Yeah, they can be arrogant. So if you're coming across that somebody doesn't know you're a doctor, then that means you've done exactly what I said. You put your doctoring behind you, and you're leading with the woman that you are, and he saw that. Even though somebody told him you were a doctor, you didn't come across that way. That's a feather in your cap.
All right. On that note, let's just put it out here. As a professional woman, we don't want you to date our professional. We want you to date who we are, and that's a female. Find you, embrace you, most importantly, always, always love you. Until next Monday at 4 p.m. is Brown Skin, the clear and uncut conversations about us. All right, thanks, Doc. I'm sitting there.
Thank you. That was good.